Hi there, episode 232. Starting out with a little tale. Two competing shoe salesmen were dispatched to a new territory to assess whether the market was viable for selling shoes. After scouting the area and only seeing barefoot people, the first shoeman reported back, "Nobody here even wears shoes, so we probably shouldn't waste our time." Meanwhile, the second shoe salesman's report was, "Good news. This market has a lot of potential. Nobody here has shoes." This little story reminds me a lot of the story of how Tom's Shoes was started. Blake McCoskey. And this is from an interview from Inc. magazine. While in Buenos Aires, I met a woman who worked for a non-profit, delivering shoes to children in poor rural areas. She invited me to accompany her, and her experience was truly life-changing. In every town we were greeted with cheers and tears. I met a pair of brothers, ages 10 and 12, who had been sharing a single pair of adult-sized shoes. Because the local schools required footwear, they had to take turns going to class. Their mother wept when I handed her shoes that actually fit her boys' feet. I couldn't believe that such a simple act could have such an enormous impact on people's lives. I promise this is not a podcast episode about shoes, although I love shoes. It's an episode about opportunities. And it really is a question to all of us today. What do we do when we come about situations in our life that look like a problem? Do we treat them like a problem by going deep into problem mode? When I think of problem mode, I think of people that I've seen in public that get really upset. Someone says something to them that offends them. At first, they don't quite catch it, but then they repeat it a few times. "What did you just say? What did you just call me? Really, did you just say that?" They repeat, and in the process their voice gets louder, their language more aggressive, and next thing you know, they're using their entire body, moving, gesturing, waving. Things have escalated. They chose problem mode. They made something small, intentionally very big, by channeling all their energies towards it. There's another option, another possible route to take, another avenue for our energy to be funneled through. Blake could have walked away from his experience in Argentina depressed and hopeless. He could have asked friends for money to donate shoes to the children, which would have helped, but only as a temporary fix. Instead, he saw a bigger opportunity, one that will make a greater impact than just a one-time donation. He started a for-profit company based on the buy one, give one idea. And he named it Shoes for Tomorrow, later shortened to Tomorrow's Shoes, and then finally to Tom's, the company that we all know, because that name would fit on a little tag at the back of the shoes. And then in 2011, Tom's had an annual growth rate for 5 years running of 300% and had given away over 10 million pairs of shoes. This one-for-one model was initially dismissed by all the traditional business people as nice but not financially sustainable. But yet it was clearly a success. Not just for Blake, but also for those in need of shoes. What a contribution. Blake saw opportunity where others saw failure. Actor Chris Burke once said, "I have a motto on my bedroom wall. Obstacles are what you see when you take your eye off the goal. Giving up is not my style. I just want to do something that's worthwhile." Every day, we are faced with the decision to make an existing problem bigger or to look at it a little harder and find an opportunity in it. Whether it's in business, relationships, or personal growth, opportunities always exist. They are not as easy to detect as the problem. The problem always stares us right into our face. It's easy to see and it's easy to hang on to. But problems can quickly become bigger and turn into real obstacles. Think of any fight you've ever witnessed unfold, or maybe even been part of yourself. It starts with an altercation and then leads to an escalation if nobody decides to control it. An undesirable event is just that, an undesirable event, an unwelcome surprise, an adverse circumstance. Nobody likes these, but we all face them from time to time. But there's always a decision involved to turn left towards problem mode or right towards solution and new opportunities. Problem mode comes easier. Remember, our brain wants to protect us from danger. Soothing it and telling ourselves that this issue might actually be good for us is unnatural and difficult to do. Choosing to find an opportunity in the adversity we face is hard, but it's also extremely rewarding. When things are easy, we are not called upon to get creative and resourceful. When everyone else does it, when we get paid for it, when the majority of the work has already been done, then there's little left to do. It's in the challenging moments when nobody is there to support us, when money is not available to rescue us, when our knowledge and experience simply is not enough to figure it out at first sight. That is often when the biggest opportunities are waiting to be unwrapped. Seeking opportunity is more than just being optimistic. Optimist, pessimist, these are stamps we like to assign to ourselves and others that hold us back because we begin to identify with them. Rather, being opportunistic is a mindset that can be learned. Most of the time, we don't look for opportunity. We get mired in the obstacle. I can't believe this happened to me. Why do things like that only happen to me? And this is just my kind of luck. If instead we train ourselves to look beyond these meaningless and false assumptions, we might learn something new about ourselves. If you are not looking for opportunities, you're unlikely to discover them. Ask yourself, do you mostly allow yourself to be defeated by the problems you encounter? If you do, then how about a different approach? One that trains your attention to see a multitude of potential opportunities. There is one opportunity I can give you today that is inherent in every problem and obstacle. Without a doubt, I strongly believe that there's always the opportunity to learn something new. But you have to be open to it. Take as an example the next conversation with a person in your life that you may have some challenges with. Maybe it's someone that only sees the negative in everything and complains all the time. This is an obvious problem for you as the friend who has to put up with this person. But there are many opportunities to learn something new here. You could tell your friend to shut up for the Xth time, or get upset with her like you always do, or ignore her. Problem mode or avoidance of the issue. Or you could dig a little deeper by asking some questions and analyze the situation and the relationship for that matter. What draws me to this person? Why do I feel so annoyed every time she complains? Why do her comments hurt me? What can I do differently that would make me feel better and maybe even improve the relationship? I could go on. These are not magic questions, they're just examples. It really depends on the issue. But the most important part is this step. Taking the time to think about the problem a little before jumping to conclusions and into problem mode. Challenges and opportunities add meaning to our life. That is how we make sense of the things that happen to us. Instead of just letting them happen, we take the time and incorporate them into our life. It's as simple and as hard as taking responsibility for your life. I always attract the same type of guys. It's an excuse for not taking responsibility. What about digging deeper to see what it is in all these guys that you find attractive? You get to know yourself a little bit better for once. There's the learning part, and you can continue from there and dig even deeper. What are the characteristics in a potential partner that are important to you? Maybe this will improve your search and eventually lead to the right person. One you would have never thought of in the first place. Imagine the opportunities that can hide behind a problem if you only make the effort to look for them. Much love.